All right, let's take a look at some of these comments on the Jefferson County, Washington page where they posted my ethics complaint. Okay, this guy, Dave Johnson, says, this complaint is interesting. I attended the meeting where Cox claimed people were excluded. The reality is, okay, we're going to hear the reality, is that there is limited seating in the chamber, and I, with many others, lined up well ahead of time to get in. And if others could not get in, it is not because David Faber did anything to make it so, but rather that these people did not stand in line to attend. Got downtown around noon, okay? The people outside were intimidating, threatening, okay? It was not a possibility for us to stand in line with them, first of all. Secondly, they let large groups in the back door with police escort, as seen in a public record email from City Manager John Morrow to Chief of Police Olson, or vice versa. They were discussing it, where they were going to let the group that aligned with David Faber, the group that aligned with the city, in the back door to fill up the chambers. So this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, but, you know, I mean, obviously this is just his opinion, but he goes on and on about me, right? He's really given an old mansplaining here about what really happened. So let's read some more. Okay, so we know what the reality really is that if you just got in line and tried, I mean, what is she thinking, right? That kind of sums that up. Also, there were people who attended online and made comments online. As such, this part of the complaint is baseless. Okay, yeah, some people commented online that didn't live here. What's that got to do with it? Open meeting laws were violated. The city of Port Townsend deliberately kept people out of a meeting that they didn't like or didn't align with their side of the story. Okay, that's against the open meeting laws, period. So to say that there were comments made online by other people outside of the area means that my complaint is just baseless, saying we were kept out of the meeting. We were kept out of the meeting, physically manhandled. We were pushed up against the wall. We were intimidated and threatened and bullied and hit and kicked. Okay, so yeah, we could have got there early. I got there way early. I was there before anyone else in our group. I was there, when the other people started coming, I was there. But they were mean. They were threatening. They were hateful. They threatened that I didn't have a voice in Town Square. I didn't belong there. Okay, I've lived in Port Townsend 12 years. He just acts like, oh, it's just I was there. Nothing did happen to me. I didn't experience it, so I think I'm going to gaslight you. Anyway, so that part's baseless. As to the pool vote, I am unsure how Cox knows the intent on the part of Faber. Well, how about thousands of public records? Okay. How about tons of Twitter posts? How about his messages that I've got through public records? I think I know a little bit more about Faber's intent than you do, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson goes on to say, I am also not sure that a new pool project would up the value of property in the neighborhood any more than it would mine about a mile away. Okay, well, I've been in real estate 20 years, have my own company. It absolutely does. Do some research, do some comparables. It will raise the property value of the people within walking distance to the pool. And it's not just a pool, it's an aquatic center, a recreation center. It will absolutely raise the value. However, it will also raise the value of Faber's businesses and his associates' businesses. Of course, that's all baseless too, according to Mr. Johnson. If one thinks that the council doing things to improve property values is wrong, then one might go after school boards who propose improving the schools. Okay, well, first of all, that's ridiculous. But secondly, speaking of school boards, the school owns the property. Okay, discrimination, right? They lease the school board property for $1 to the YMCA for a daycare, right? None of the other local nonprofits don't matter. But where the Mountain View Pool is, the school board owns that. David Faber has to upzone that too. The city has to upzone that and change it. Okay, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He just likes to, slam me. This part of the complaint is silly. It's really just silly, unless one can really assert with factual evidence that there is collusion. Gee darn, why didn't I think of that? I didn't even think about that. What is that word again? How do you say it? Evidence? Well, thank you, Captain Obvious. We must remember that Cox was part of the group pushing an anti-trans agenda. Uh-oh, here we go. Guy don't know me, right? I think I know who he is, and I think if he worked at the post office and then at the store, I know him, and he's been very friendly with me every time he's seen me, like very friendly. He seems to be a little bit, too friendly. Let's just leave it at that. I'm not anti-trans. I'm a butch lesbian. I've been around the trans community my entire life. Neither the right nor the left asked me my view on trans. Nobody really cares, okay? I went there to speak on the values of pride and for the rights of an elder in my community to speak about anything at all. I went there to stand up for women's rights and speak. I had a right to speak, as did the other women. We didn't have a right to be mobbed. It's not okay what happened. Those of you still defending it, I don't understand. But we must remember, see, Crystal wrote a complaint with all this case law and all this stuff about upzoning because she's anti-trans. Okay, so that's what we got to remember here, guys. We got to remember that Crystal's anti-trans, and that's why she's talking about this stuff. And that's all. Okay, according to Mr. Johnson. Oh, and this mysterious thing he says next. She is also a longtime friend of someone now suing the city. Oh, so mysterious. I wonder who that is. Could that be Julie Jaman, right? So these guys make up who I am, right? TERF, Nazi, bigot, anti-trans, whatever. In a movement to be called whatever they want. They make up whatever I am. And they just run with it and they slam me. So we got to remember, the reason Crystal did that complaint is not because she did a bunch of research for 2 years or because she's anti-corruption or she cares about this or she cares about that. Because she's longtime friends with a certain someone. Well, Julie Jaman, right? Absolute lie, flat out misinformation. I've lived in Port Townsend 12 years. I had never met Julie Jaman in my entire life until the night of the press conference. I seen her one time after. So this longtime friend rumor is nothing to do with me. And maybe you're confusing me with Amy Sousa, which is ridiculous. But Amy has known Julie for 10 years. She's not even like a lifelong, whatever. So I'm not long-term friends with Julie Jaman. Okay, your whole thing here is so inaccurate, I do enjoy the mansplaining, though. So let's put that sentence together. She's also a longtime friend of someone now suing the city. This just seems to be part of the strategy in the lawsuit. Oh, my goodness. So Julie suing the city and the YMCA is all about the golf course, and it's all about upzoning city property. It's all about wetlands and open spaces and all that, right? It's the strategy, right? No, the strategy for suing the city is already in place. I don't know if you've read any of the documents. It's pretty darn good. They discriminated against her. They defamed her. They got a PR company that hired with tax dollars to go after Julie Jaman. It's pretty much open and shut case, all right? They violated Julie Jaman's rights, period. They didn't have a right to. It didn't matter what she said. Okay? Julie Jaman is a human being and she has rights. She's not a long-term friend of mine. And the complaint is not a strategy for the lawsuit, okay? I intend, as of that night, when what happened to us was so horrific, and when I saw how horrible this community was to Amy Sousa and Julie Jaman, who used to be friends with them, they all went to theater together and weddings, and they're friends for years. These people I seen in public records were so horrible to them, I stuck up for them, okay? I was there that night. I was horrified. I dug into every single thing that happened. So you're just not talking, So please keep all this in mind when listening to this propaganda effort on the part of Cox, right? Been reporting on it every day for 2 years. All of my sites on Facebook were deleted over and over and over. Can't talk on the next door page. Can't talk on the community page. No one is listening to any part of this story. I post with actual evidence and video. And, it's just your interpretation of the video. And it's all propaganda. Propaganda for what? I have no political party. I belong to no group. The left doesn't approve of me. The right doesn't approve of me. What's the propaganda for? Okay, and what's your propaganda for? All right? Stay tuned. We're going to talk about some more of this. Bye for now.